So, what are some of the common missteps that you find brands and businesses typically take when it comes to Twitter in particular? I mean, obviously there's all sorts of missteps that, we can do, I've made missteps. But when we focus in on Twitter, as opposed to all the other social media and online, outlets out there, what are some of those missteps? What do they look like? And why do companies, find themselves going that direction?
Well, I answer this question from the perspective that I have made every single last one of these missteps and
Okay.
continue to do so.
Yeah.
If you look at one of our brand channels right now, it's been dormant aside from replies for weeks, which is a huge no-no.
Yeah.
And so to kind of remedy that, we've brought on somebody who's going to be able to do content for that, focus on it. And I think, just out of that example, I can tell you that not being consistent is a huge misstep.
Yeah.
It's like, they're doing some construction outside of our house. At the out or the kind of the connecting street. So there's a street, our street, and then there's a connecting street to the main kind of artery of the town, and they haven't been able to finish it because it's been raining off and on for the past 2 weeks. So they can't get momentum. They can't make the progress that they want.
Yeah.
And I think when you don't have consistent content, especially on Twitter because it's so fast-paced, when you don't have consistent content, it makes it very hard to get progress.
Yeah.
To get momentum going, to get any sort of movement and traction, you have to have consistent content. And I'm saying not just daily tweets, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, you have to have those tweets stocked and ready to go.
Yeah.
And that was something that I just basically sat down and said, "Man, we aren't even doing this for our own business," because my capacity to do it had been well eclipsed. And I was just like, I have to fix this.
Yeah.
So we hired a person to come in and do content for us because it's that important. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So that's a big misstep. The other misstep is Dan Zarella said, the key to Twitter is talking as yourself, not talking about yourself. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Talking as yourself, not about yourself. And a big misstep is that a lot of brands choose to talk about themselves. And so all they talk about all day long is, look at this product. Here's our cute and clever hashtag. Use this hashtag. Look at this new initiative we're doing. Here's our new product.
Yeah.
Sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah.
Go to our Facebook page. I mean, you get where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. No one wants to read that. Where a much more fun way to do it is to find the conversation that maybe your product can contribute something towards, or your brand can contribute something
Right.
towards, and find a way to intelligently join that conversation.
Right.
And come at it from your brand perspective, your brand voice. One of the best examples is Awake Chocolate. So Awake Chocolate is a Canadian company. They make caffeinated chocolate bars.
Nice.
Yes. And it's actually good chocolate.
That's good.
So what they did was they developed their brand. And now the reason I found out about them, because I was tweeting one day about the essentials to the entrepreneur life. And I had mentioned coffee, caffeine, chocolate, some other stuff. Well, they were listening for those terms.
Yeah.
And they came in and I forgot what the tweet was, but they, came in, and it was such an amazing response to my tweet. And I thought, there's a brand that gets it.
Yeah.
So they stayed on point. That's another thing, is that a lot of times, brands will approach Twitter and you won't have any idea what their brand voice is.
Yeah.
And because they're, it's like a schizophrenic social media strategy. So keeping your voice, on point, on brand, staying consistent. What was the other thing I mentioned?
Those
Forgot.
those were the two primary ones that you hit.
Well, that's
And it's really good. It's really good.
well, good.